Snow Falling. If you've seen Jane the Virgin, you might know this book already. So that book is actually Jane Gloriana Villanueva is well, the actress Gina Rodriguez is playing her, and her character in Jane the Virgin wrote this book. So Josephine couldn't help but feel that the day had been incomplete. Although her abuela and mother always warned Josephine that she let her imagination and her temper get away from her too often, she shouldn't. She couldn't shake the idea that something had been missing. Something that would have made the day just absolutely perfect. Maybe the father she'd never known, or even her long-gone abuelo. Something magical, she thought as she scratched out another word on the rough paper. There was only dim light on the veranda from the lantern she had set on the table beside the rocking chair, as she eagerly poured out the story from her heart. With each completed page, pride and satisfaction fed the determination growing inside her to reach for her dreams. Josephine was so engrossed in her task that it took her a moment to notice the harsh scrape of a footstep on the wooden porch and the shadow now looming over her. Fear suddenly gripped her as she noticed the large man's shoe barely a foot away from the chair where she was huddled. Heart beating at a frantic pace, she mustered the courage to look up at the face of the man towering above her. Dark blonde wisps of hair escaped the confines of a straw powder that cast shadows on his feature until she raised the lantern to chase away the darkness. Smiling blue eyes, as bright as a summer sky, held Nomelli's only concern. A sharp, straight nose led to full lips and a strong jawline, with a hint of light evening stubble. "It's a little late to be outside, miss. There have been some problems in town lately, and I've been sent around to make sure everything is secure," he said, and drew away the label of his mother brown suit to reveal the shiny silver patch on his chest. Pinkerton National Detective Agency was engraved on the shield along with a small star. A little quiver of fear returned to her heart. Josephine had heard stories, not all positive, about the Pinkertons and how they'd busted unions in other cities. The owner of the Regal Soul had supposedly hired them to protect the hotel and the nearby cottages where many of the employees lived. But who knew what his real motives had been? "It's my birthday," she stammered, suddenly self-conscious. Since she was clad only in a nightshirt and robe, she drew the lapels of the robe together and hugged the journal to her chest. Her abuela would never approve of Josephine being so immodestly clothed in front of a gentleman. The young man jammed his hands in his pockets and rocked back on his heels as he examined her, and she hoped he couldn't see that she was clearly a little flustered by his presence. Nervously, she pulled back long tendrils of dark curly hair that had slipped loose off the Gibson girl bun at the top of her head. And his prolonged perusal, he'd spread up her neck to her cheeks, and Josephine prayed she was not blushing, although she knew she was. "Happy birthday, miss." He paused, prompting her, and she hesitantly replied, "Josephine." After a pregnant pause, she shifted the journal to one hand and stuck out the other as she stood. "Josephine Galina Valencia. I'm one of the concierges at the hotel, yes. I noticed you there before," he said, and she lost some of her embarrassment as his face now pinked with his revelation. his fingers and closed hers. Josephine held a small frisson of heat, and when she looked down, sparks of light seemed to be dancing along their intermingled skin. Her pulse quickened. Suddenly, she wanted to know more about this endearingly awkward lawman. "And your name, sir, is Martin Cutton, Detective Cutton," he said, and then looked away, gesturing with his hand in the direction of the darkness on the street. "As I said before, we've had some issues in town. You need to be careful out there, a beautiful girl like you." He shut his eyes tight and grimaced, but then a lopsided grin spread across his features, and the joy of it spread to a place inside her. He gestured to the journal held tight against her breasts. "What were you doing out here all alone in the dark?" Hesitant to reveal her secret wish to be a writer, she reached for the copy of the Jane Austen novel she'd also received that day as a gift and said, "Just scribbling in my diary and reading." He smiled, his genial face alight. "I enjoy a good time novel now and then." He might not have known it, but Detective Martin Cadden had uttered exactly the right words. "Oh, I love to read, especially romantic novels like Jane Austen. Have you read her?" Martin's smile broadened, though he shook his head slightly. "The nuns at the convent where I go to school said they've never seen anyone before who likes to read as much as I do. I only have a few more correspondence classes to finish, and Sister Elizabeth said she'd help me get a job as a tutor." Martin looked at her questioningly, almost as if he was deciding something. He took a step closer and sank down on the edge of the table, his eyes fixed on Josephine. "What is it that you love about those stories?" "That idea that two people are destined to be together," she answered. Their gazes met and held. Tiny flutters, like the beating of a butterfly's wings, resonated within Josephine's chest. Perhaps this was it, the elusive something she had been anticipating all day. That feeling they have when their eyes meet and they think, "I knew it was you. I just knew." She waited for his censor, but instead, Martin smiled once more, took off his powder, and sat down on the rocking chair beside her. "Please tell me more, Miss Valencia." And she did, but what might have been hours as they sat and talked comfortably like old friends, trading tales of their favorite stories and some of their hopes for the future. The night grew even darker until the flame in the lantern suddenly sputtered out entirely, leaving them bathed only in moonlight. She stared into the handsome detective's bright eyes. Her breath held. The moment stretched on, shimmering with potential like the stars in the night sky, until she quietly and with some disappointment murmured, "Well, it's getting late, detective, and I have work in the morning." She could have spent the entire night talking with him, and maybe even more than talking, if she dared. "Of course, I'd feel better walking you to the door and making sure you're safe," he said, the very model of proper behavior, as counter to Josephine's rather improper thoughts, and held out his hand in the direction of the cottage entrance. be known.